Hi.
Hello, everyone. Welcome. So excited today. We are joined by Erick Alvarez with Tiny House Society. So, without further ado, I am going to bring him up. Yay! Hi, Erick.
Hi.
Hi, welcome. Oh my gosh, this is so exciting. Thank you for joining today.
Yay. I'm so excited to be here.
Awesome. Yes, we can talk all things tiny homes. It's so funny our paths crossed. It was like the exact same timing that I was looking to like propel into a different direction, and then I saw that you were like seeking help with Tiny House Society, and I just like cold called, "Hey, what's up? This sounds perfect. Let's do this." You're like, "Oh my gosh, let's go." So, I'm just happy how fast all this has happened. So,
Yeah.
super excited to be a part of the team with Tiny House Society. And I was hoping that you could share with folks just a little bit about yourself, your backstory, and how the Tiny House Society really grew over the last 6 years.
Yeah. Well, first, I think, Rebecca, you've been such a big blessing to us. And I think you're an incredible blessing to the tiny house community, to all things tiny home related. So it's an honor and such a big privilege for you to be a part of our team. I think you contribute so much and bring so much to the table. And I think it's going to be incredible to see how many people you can help. So, at the heart of what we do is really to help and to serve the community, people that are interested in tiny home on wheels, container homes, camper vans, schoolies, renovated vehicles, renovated campers, anything that has to do with those interesting and unique off-grid or sort of different sort of living styles. We are guided by the three core principles of treating people royally, making moments matter, and keep moving forward. I believe in those principles so much. I have them tattooed on my arm, and really, we are here to help and serve and see how we can support individuals in different phases of their journey, whether it's buying a tiny home, selling a tiny home, camper van, schoolie, anything on wheels, or just exploring it and trying to plan for the next year or 6 months or 2 years from now, whether it's designing or custom building. It's we're just looking to help and we're looking to support. We've been doing this for 7 years. I started by building tiny homes. I was in Idaho, and at the time, I have 4 real estate licenses in 4 different states. So I have California, Nevada, Idaho, North Carolina. And at the time, I was really into flipping homes, and I had 6 Airbnbs at the time. It was in 2019. So Airbnbs had not really taken off in Idaho. It was sort of unique. And I was also just looking for ways to help with affordable housing. I wanted to bring tiny homes as a solution to whether it's a single parent trying to make ends meet, or a college student transitioning into independence, or people trying to pay off student loans, or a mother trying to stay on maternity leave, or a father trying to stay off maternity leave. So we wanted to find solutions that were more affordable, more long-term sustainable, that helped people develop, whether it's like an asset or some sort of way to then transition into having a down payment for a mortgage or a home. So that was the heart of it. I used to build tiny homes fully complete with everything inside of them for about $28,000, $30,000. And little by little, I started to feel that people were in this industry for a lot longer and had a lot more skill sets than I had. People who had 40 years of construction experience and had built tiny homes and had beautiful craftsmanship and just were very passionate about it, but really had no people skills or personal skills or marketing skills or paperwork skills. And so I also worked in Washington, D.C. for 2 years and understood the value of formalities and a process and paperwork and just that sort of marketing and also professionalism. So I started to help those individuals who had built something. They were sitting in their backyard. They had all of the skill sets, but really needed support in one of the areas. So I started to help builders sell their tiny homes. I would sell the first one for free, no fees, no commissions, nothing. And just to build and cultivate that relationship. And then on the second and third build, that's where I would come in and sort of, because we had that trust and that relationship and I showed value, then I would be able to charge for a service. Obviously, that's not sustainable, but in the beginning, it's, you got to do whatever you can to help people. And I believe that if you help people and you serve people, then the money comes. So that's what happened over time. We found manufacturing companies, we started doing custom builds, and I started to develop a platform where anybody could list their tiny home or camper van or schoolie for free. And I didn't want any paywalls. I've heard endless amounts of times that we should charge for listings and for photos, for everything. So I wanted it absolutely free because I feel like you can help people and serve people. And if they sell it on their own, then great. They really don't need us. But at the point that they want to work with us and they want that full 24/7 marketing and they want support and they want the documents, and we use DocuSign integration for everything. We make sure that the buyer and the seller fully disclose everything and that they are legitimate and that they do things in a way that they both feel comfortable, and that there's a paper trail every step of the way, and everyone gets copies of everything, and we store those copies for 2 years at a time. And so we started to find that if there was a platform that offered this and we were able to also offer that service of support, then we could grow Tiny House Society into what it is today. We're in all 50 states. We have tiny houses and schoolies and listings in all sorts of different areas. We've helped hundreds of people sell their tiny home. We've helped people in all over the country, including Alaska. And we've done actually Canada as well. We've done a transaction in Canada, so we're technically international, I like to say. But, the future for Tiny House Society is continuing to find ways to really go into this affordable housing, whether it's an ADU, additional dwelling unit, whether it's a container home, whether it's on a foundation or whether it's on wheels. We want to find ways to bring affordable housing to the public and not really necessarily wait for things to be done, by the city, but we're going to go and work with the city and find solutions and hold people's hands through that process and really just not give up until affordable housing is an option. So that's where we're at in 2025 and going into 2026. I think having people like you, Rebecca, on our team and our team is filled with some of the smartest, most talented, most intelligent, most incredible talent that I've been able to find in all of the U.S. And now we're sort of also international. We have 2 people out of Colombia and just incredible talent. So I feel like 2026 will be amazing and we'll help even more people and we'll grow together.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you for sharing all of that too. And I wanted to screen share to the website because this is so cool. And like you said, there's Canada, but it's primarily the United States. And I noticed this as it's really like solving a problem in the industry and offering value and helping people. Because like you said, whether folks hire Tiny House Society to formally, market and help list their tiny home for sale, anyone can go onto the website and say, hey, I have a schoolie that I'm looking to sell, or hey, I have this shipping container tiny home, or this shell tiny home converted cabin, or this tiny house on wheels, or whatever the situation is, and make their own listing. Or they can hire help and, we'll hold their hand through the process, because it can be kind of confusing. Like you were saying, creating the agreements, the bill of sale, all of the intricacies involved in actually making this happen, the logistics of transportation from where it's parked right now and then moving it to a new property, and like that whole process. How do you get insurance? Like, how do you transfer a title? What if there isn't a title? Like, there's so many ins and outs and things to consider.
There's a lot of questions. It's a big process. It's a full-time job when you go and sell, whether it's a schoolie or a camper van or a tiny home. It's a full-time responsibility. There's a lot of marketing involved. There's a lot of qualifying. There's a lot of questions. I don't think that doing this alone is the most enjoyable way. I think doing it together and as a team and finding individuals, which our team is comprised of that have different skill sets in different areas, it makes the transaction and the whole process go seamless. You don't feel alone. You don't feel like this endeavor is so challenging and overwhelming that you'd rather just not do it. And everything's done really properly with a paper trail, with records. I have heard endless stories of people who are like, yeah, we shook hands, I sent them money, and that's it. And I'm like, you didn't get a receipt, you didn't do a bill of sale, you didn't get disclosures, you didn't get anything? And they said, no, we just shook hands. Not even a receipt that I sent you money and that it's in your account, nothing. So we track everything. We do all of this. We don't charge additional fees. There's no hidden costs. We're very upfront. We're very transparent. We disclose everything. You know exactly what you're getting. And at any point, you can ask any question. You can offer any price. And we're here to walk with you and hold your hand through the whole process.
Awesome. Yes. Ah, that is so amazing. And it is definitely something the market needs right now. And then
Yeah.
also I wanted to share, so I love so there's the website, of course, which is tinyhousesociety.com,
Yes.
where folks can list their tiny homes. There's also a really awesome information section with drop downs, like what is the tiny home? Like, bits of
Yeah.
information and like people are always asking about financing and just like all these different intricacies. But most people nowadays are on Facebook. So I wanted to take a second too, because this is also another great way for folks who maybe are looking for a tiny home or just trying to see like what does the market bear, how much do they cost, what's out there in the world, what's close to me. So I love it that you created the tiny house marketplace, which also links to the
Yeah.
website, of course. But this is easy peasy for folks to use who are maybe, just in the beginning stages of their tiny home research, and they just kind of want to see what's out there. So first of all, I love this. It's actually, we're now doing more content here with live streams, so that's really fun. Here's the group, so please join the group, folks. It's Tiny House Marketplace, almost 300,000 members.
Yeah.
And then the discussion thread, do you want to kind of share a little bit about how you
Yeah.
got?
One of the things that like makes our group unique, I've been a part of countless tiny house groups on Facebook, countless websites, everything. We're just very good about filtering out scams and anybody who's fraud or not relevant. We have such a good team of support. We have great admins, great moderators. One of them, Susan, has just put so much energy and effort into moderating the group. And we have a lot of people who are constantly observing and monitoring and making sure that there's no suspicious activity. Anything that gets reported, we review carefully. We're always monitoring all the posts. So, I mean, it's very much a well managed group with a lot of good information. It's not perfect. Obviously, there's due diligence involved, but it's a really trustworthy, verified group. So, we've grown this for 6 years now, 6, 7 years. And I think it started like in less than 50,000 people. And over time, it's grown little by little. We tried to highlight sellers and just have a safe place for people to, whether it's a tiny home or a camper van, or maybe it's like a wood burning stove. I mean, we've put things on there like washer dryers, mini splits, anything that's relevant to a tiny home and living in that area. If it's a king size bed, it's not going to get accepted. But if it's like something, like Murphy bed, then yes, we'll definitely
Yeah,
accept
I
it.
love the Amazon shopping list where it's like helpful accessories for tiny home living
Yeah,
that we link to. Super helpful.
yeah,
Um,
and I think Tiny House Society is all about community. So we want people to be very vocal and involved and engaged, and we want your ideas, and we want you to help us create Tiny House Society into what it needs to be. So feel free to just anybody who's watching this to give us your insight and your opinion and your comments, and let us know what you'd like to see more of.
Awesome. Yes. Yeah, it's like a growing movement. And like over the years, I can definitely feel what you were saying about like folks who are maybe millennials or they're trying to pay off their student loan debt, or like single parents, or they're raising their kids and they're needing to save up, or even like saving up for the bigger house or like building out a homestead. And I've
Yes.
seen too, a lot of the people I talk to are retired.
Yeah. Yeah, that's a big market. I think that's the main most interested individual. Seems to be someone who has thought about this for such a long period of time, has saved up a lot of money, is ready to downsize, and this is their passion. We have had so many people who have retired, and all of them into a tiny home, all of them are so beyond happy. Best decision they've ever made. They're the happiest person ever. It's like a dream come true. I think it's my dream, definitely, when I retire. And it's something that you realize that life isn't about stuff. It's about those experiences and those relationships. So I think it's about what makes life significant, and it's the emotions, it's the stories behind your life. And tiny homes really do help you see that. It's something that people, they truly, this is their dream. They want to retire in a tiny home. It seems to be there's a lot of communities for 55 and older. So we're all about that. We'll support that.
Yes, 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 absolutely. Okay, and then I wanted to show folks, so when they are on the website, the Facebook is cool just at like a quick glance. You can kind of see what folks have recently posted, but let's screen share here and just show what a listing looks like on the website. So let's say you're actually looking for a tiny home. You can go on the map function. You're like, I don't want to move it too far because what the average is like $4 to $5 a mile for transportation, right? So you don't want it to be super far. It could be, but it could add thousands of dollars if you're buying one on the East Coast when you live in California.
Yeah. Typically, and that's something that, yes, it should be a point of consideration, but it should also be a point of conversation with the seller, because oftentimes you can ask, let's say you're working with Tiny House Society, one of our marketing directors, you can ask the marketing director to ask the seller if they'll just cover the cost of transportation. And 9 times out of 10, they will. And if they don't cover the whole thing, they'll at least cover half. So really, if you see a tiny home and it's in Wisconsin and you're in Texas, ask the seller if they'll cover the cost of transportation. Whether you see it on our website or whether you see it on Facebook Marketplace, it doesn't hurt to have that conversation. I think if anything, they might just say, yeah, we'll do that. And then boom, problem solved. The challenge is the logistics of moving it, finding a reputable company. What we do is we put listing up on websites that are specializing in transportation of tiny homes. Then we get them to lower their price little by little. And then before we book, we ask for their driver's license and we ask for proof of insurance. We make sure that they're covered fully for the cost of the transportation, the cost of the tiny home during the transportation. And then we get their phone number and email, so we make sure that the money and the transaction is done properly. So it's more of the logistics that can be scary. The price shouldn't be that big of an issue. Like I said, sellers will oftentimes just cover that cost.
Yep. So let's pretend we're looking at this listing. This is actually a new one that I just picked up last week. And so we want to look at this fifth wheel. I'm going to zoom out, or fifth wheel. It's a gooseneck. It kind of looks like
yeah. This is like a typical listing.
So
I was in a goose. Have you been in a gooseneck, Rebecca?
Yes, yeah. At all the different trade shows I would go to, like all the different tiny home trade shows that have all these different floor plans. And I love how these are configured because like usually the bedroom and then it's like elevated up.
It's elevated up. Yeah. Yeah. It's a really unique feel. It feels like really, really unique. So I like it a lot. I prefer this to a loft. I love goosenecks. I think they feel like so big. They feel so spacious, so tall. Yeah. I don't know why they feel taller.
It just opens up the space.
Yeah, it opens up the space. This one has a lot of windows, which a lot of natural light. Look at those cabinets; they're beautiful, and like the ceilings have accents. It's beautiful. This is a steal. I think so many of these are such good deals. Like, look at this. This is incredible.
Yeah.
And one thing about a listing is that you shouldn't just go off of the photos. You should call the seller, get on a FaceTime tour, get on a live video tour, even before flying out there. Just have them show you on the phone, on Google Meets, on FaceTime. Have them walk you through that tiny home, even if it's down the street. Still, do a FaceTime video tour before you make that trip out there, just to make sure that all things are good. But this is a great deal. So here you can just contact the seller on the right. You can put your information, your name, email, phone number, and it sends a message to them. Or you can just call them directly. So there's that call button, and that will just bring up, like if you're on your phone, it'll just call them instantly. Here you can schedule a tour. So that's one of the first things. If you go up a little bit, that's the overview section. So that gives you a quick snippet. This has one loft, has one main level bed. It's built in 2023. One bedroom technically, and then the square footage, which square footage is a little bit of an estimate, right? It's a little bit of length and width and a little bit of what the space looks like, what counts as square footage and what doesn't. But this is a good, accurate description. Let's go down a little bit. Here you can request a tour, whether it's in-person or video tour, and then that goes directly to the seller. Whether you've listed your tiny home and you're a private seller, that'll go directly to you, or whether you're working with a marketing director, they'll get a copy and we'll qualify that lead for you. Let's go down.
We are getting a compliment on the website, Eric.
Thank you.
Woo!
Yeah, click around and then go down.
Yep, 1 second. All right, we're going down.
And here, these features, the seller, whoever listed, had to select each one. So it really gives you like a quick snippet of what's included. Instead of a compost toilet, this has a flushing toilet, which is like a traditional home toilet. Those are really, I like them. It has a standing shower. There's a sink in the bathroom. It comes with a refrigerator. It has a range hood. If you're a chef or you like to cook with propane, that's really important. Has a cooktop as well. One loft fits a bed. So all of this, the person who listed it, whether it's a private seller or a marketing director, has double checked that it's accurate and has selected those options. Let's go down. And then just a description that I think a good description really helps the buyer understand, this is exactly what I'm looking for, and it has a lot of information. So this is beautiful. And that's a typical listing. I recommend going on there, clicking around. Feel free to send as many messages as you want, call as many sellers as you want. That's what it's there for. I think buyers should have options, and they should have all the options, and they should be unlimited options, but they should really have a lot of information and make informed decisions. I think that's the priority of Tiny House Society.
Yeah, and you can look by price, by square footage. I mean, there's so many different options, and I think that's what's really cool. Like, we have all these different range of opportunities, like schooly listings. Like, if you want to be able to drive it around, if your intention behind this is to travel and to explore, to go to festivals, or to do the digital nomad life, maybe that's how you want to lean in. Or if you're like, no, I want it to be in a community that's already established, that has it already set up, utilities, everything. There's options as well for that. So yeah, it's so beautiful what's been built. Do you have other thoughts, Eric, that you want to share?
I actually want to share like a little tip and trick on the website. So go ahead and share that website one more time.
Okay.
If anybody's watching, this is a really great tip. I don't know, we haven't really highlighted this, but it's really helpful. So go to the main page. And then if you click in that blue where it says click here to search by features.
Whoop. Okay.
Let's click that blue. Yep. And then that's a drop down. Click, for example, dishwasher.
Let me zoom
These
in.
are all the listings that have a dishwasher. And then you just give it a second, and those listings will come up with dishwashers. So that's one of the unique things that you can search by amenities. I would recommend searching by one amenity at a time because it's filtering by every click that you have. So if you're looking for a dishwasher and something else, it's going to bring up those two. So click by one at a time. But this is a really helpful way for you if you're looking for a NOAA, an NOAH certified tiny home. This is a great way to search by that.
There's a lot.
There's a lot. Yeah.
NOAA, RVIA is another one. So if you're wanting to make sure it has those, specifications that it's been signed off on.
Exactly. Yes. Yeah. And that's pretty much it. I would say feel free to call the phone number that goes directly to me, so you'll get a hold of me, or text it. And then feel free to call Rebecca, and we're here to help with any question. There's literally no question that we'll turn away. We'll sit with you and talk with you and just hold your hand and start wherever you're at.
Yeah, I was going to say too, on the Facebook page as well, because we do post there pretty often. You'll see as well Isabella and Liz, and they're always sharing listings too. And so, we're all putting all this information out there to the world, trying to help folks who are looking to buy a tiny home connect with the folks who are selling their tiny home. So it's all about building that bridge and connection. And it's just such a beautiful platform that you've created, Eric. So thank you for that.
Yay! Well, we're here to help, and we're here to serve. And I'm excited for 2026.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I think more and more people are really leaning into alternative living and why am I dumping all this money into an apartment I'll never own? Why not do something different? Whether it's for a lifetime or for a chapter of your life, like a short phase, or then, after you live in it, you can rent it on an Airbnb, have some residual income. The possibilities are really endless. And I think that's what's so cool about tiny homes. It opens up so many options and flexibility, and it's so fluid. So, yes.
Yay!
Amazing. Well, closing thoughts? Anything else you want to share?
That's pretty much it. I think our heart is really to help others. So anybody that has ideas on what we can be doing moving forward to help the community and serve people who are interested in the tiny home movement, please let us know. We're here to listen to the audience. It's a great time to speak to our team. Whether you're looking to join our team, that's also a possibility. We're looking for the most wonderful, talented, amazing individuals that have a huge passion for this. So we're open to collaborating. We're open to bringing people onto the team, and we're open to trying absolutely every unique creative idea that people might say, this is something that's missing in the market. we're here for it.
Yes, amazing. And there was a question from the audience. Where is the THC located? I don't know what they mean by that. Do you know that acronym?
Where is the THC?
THC? Like marijuana? No, just kidding. What do you mean by this? I don't know. Maybe they'll specify or clarify. But you can contact us, whoever GP Digit is, if you'd like to stay in touch. I'll put our, do you think team at Tiny House Society is
Yes.
Okay.
Oh, Tiny House Community. Where's the Tiny House Community? Maybe that's what they meant.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh,
So
Tiny House Communities. Okay.
Tiny House Communities. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. So you can search by communities. If you search on the website where it says land, communities will pop up. I would say there's communities in almost every state. One thing to note, most people put it in a backyard, put it on their own land, or they put it in RV parks, or they put it in like mobile home parks that allow tiny homes. Very flexible. Typically speaking to an owner, that's the best route to go, not with like the manager of the park, but more of the owner of the park. But people love tiny homes, mobile home parks, RV parks. They're obsessed with them. And if you have a beautiful tiny home, you have great photos, you're a great person, it's like you're doing them really it's a blessing for them to have tiny homes in their parks. It adds so much value to it, and it beautifies everything. So there's a lot of tiny home communities. There's a lot in Tennessee. There's in Florida, Oregon, Wisconsin. There's a lot of them. Just depending on your state, the search is, we would just help you find the one that's closest to you or one that has all the options that you're looking for. Some have lakes, some are closer to mountains, some are up in Joshua Tree, like in California. So it just depends on what you would like to see. Some of them are on farms with farm animals and horses and sheep. So it just depends on what you're looking for.
Yeah, I was going to share, I just did an interview with Matt, who he used to work with the Incredible Tiny Homes, and he has an incredible tiny home built out on his property with 19 lots in Minnesota. We have some listings in the Coney Bell, which is in North Carolina, near Asheville, beautiful area.
Yes.
We have the Village Farm Tiny Home Community where I used to work. There's actually quite a few listings on our website for that community, which is near Austin, Texas. So there are a lot of tiny home communities with openings, and we do have those on the website.
Yes. Yep. And if somebody has a tiny home community or they have space for rent, put it on our website. Just put it under land as a category, and people can access that for free, and there's no cost involved for you to put the listing up there. Even if it's you want to rent out your backyard or your front garage and let someone park there and live in a tiny home, you can do that absolutely on our website.
Amen. All right. Oh, yes. They just said, thanks for informing with your platform. Awesome. You answered his question. Okay, great. Well, thank you so much, Erick, for taking the time out of your busy schedule to get this going today. Really appreciate the opportunity to discuss Tiny House Society. And any other closing thoughts? I keep asking because I know there's always.
I think that's pretty much it. Like I said, if anybody is watching this and they are open to collaborating, whether it's on social media, whether it's offering financing options to tiny home buyers, whether it's a bank or a private lender, we're looking to connect individuals to people who are interested in Tiny House Society and tiny homes. So we want the relationship. We want to cultivate those relationships. We've been in business for over 7 years, and we just want to offer resources to the community. So feel free to reach out.
Awesome. Yes. Well, thank you so much. Okay. I'm going to have you sign off now. And then thank you everyone for watching. Really appreciate it. My name's Rebecca Anzini. I do work with Tiny House Society. So if you are looking to list a tiny home, or if you have a tiny home that you want to share out there with the world, this is a great resource for you. If you're looking to get into a tiny home or have any questions about this lifestyle, our team is here to help. We have Liz, Isabella, of course, Erick, runs up the company. And then I just joined the team. I'm so excited. And so thank you for watching today. As always, on this channel, we're exploring alternative housing, off-grid living, tiny homes, and all things rebellious. So signing off now. Thanks, y'all. And I hope that we can all keep in touch. If you would like to send any questions or inquiries regarding Tiny House Society, here's a good general email: team@tinyhousesociety.com. And I hope that we can all keep in touch and keep growing this amazing movement together. Thank you. Until the next live stream. Bye.